Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching Superman and Lois, Season 2, Episode 7, Anti-Hero, which I guess is what Clark currently is. This was definitely before Midnight, but it is Clark. The problem is Clark. I didn't even get the lyric right, it's fine. I am stressed, obviously, with them, at least, I hope, temporarily imprisoning Clark. The idea that it's going to be next to his brother as well kind of adds an extra punch to the injury. I don't entirely know what's going to happen because I don't know. Is he going to just give up the location? Is he going to not? We will see. Do not like Anderson. Stressed about Jonathan. Stressed about most things in general. A reminder that if you're watching this at some point, and not at some point, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are watching this a month behind Patreon. Patreon will be on episode 7 of season 3. And let's go. Hello, sunshine. He was not in any sunshine. Is he in the cell with his brother? Seriously? They couldn't even build its own cell for him? I thought they'd at least be in next door shells.
There's been a misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
You need to let me out.
Actually, don't. Your arrest was sanctioned by General Hardcastle herself.
She did say any means necessary.
I will bring him in so he can stand trial.
I don't care about a trial. And I don't trust you to keep your word. So
Well, you should care about a trial. It's kind of part of your job.
There's a greater threat here.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Allie Alston. She's a cult leader. Whatever brought your suspect to this world, she's dangerous and she needs to
That is relevant information. They should hopefully do
believe
something on
for
it.
yourself.
when I return,
Yeah.
you will give me the...
But he's still giving you information. He's still working with you. Maybe you could give him a little bit of that leeway back, given the years of respect he's earned. Actually, thinking about it, one thing that will definitely make them have to release Superman is when the disasters start happening and people start dying, and there starts being an outcry of like, where the fuck is Superman? And then the answer is in prison because of the Americans.
location.
Tell me all about this new monster you're after.
Just grab a book off the shelf and sit and have a read. Drown him out.
I will resolve it myself.
Lois, you can't just barge into
No.
the DOD and demand Anderson release
Especially as
Superman.
they don't know that he's your husband.
Dad, you have been
I'll head to the DOD, raise a little noise. see if
You
I can
can't go
fix
because
it.
they just know that he's a reporter friend. They can't know that he's your husband.
Any updates on Dad?
So whatever is going on between you two, I suggest you figure it out.
And that involves... But obviously, I was going to say that involves talking to your parents about what one of you has been up to. But then obviously right now they're going to be like, oh, it's, life and death scenario. Dad's in prison. What are we going to do?
Jordan.
Think about your choices, young man, please.
I didn't really want Sophie to see.
Well, I didn't want you to see.
Well, this is what's gotta happen, right?
Oh, Sarah.
Might as well just get it over with.
Bless her.
I am so sorry to put you and your sister through this.
Mom, you're not putting us through anything. Dad is.
Yeah,
None of this is your fault.
it's the
None of it
truth.
is yours either. Okay.
You remember that, Sarah.
All right, honey.
Though I will say, when I was struggling with my parents' divorce, when I was around Sarah's age, a couple of years older, I went to my school counsellor, and the first thing she did was sit me down and say, "It's not your fault." And I was like, yes, I know, it's my dad's fault. It was like, it was the first time it even crossed my mind that it could be my fault was when she said that to me. I was like, I know it's not. The value of family values, what a tacky sentence.
It's only been one night, and it's just so hard seeing my mom cry all the time.
I know.
I don't really know if you can.
Oh, so he can't. Because even if... Oh dear. Even if... Oh, this is about the drugs. Jonathan. I did just call him Jonathan because for some reason I always want to call Jonathan Jordan, even though I know... I don't think I ever particularly want to call Jordan Jonathan. I don't know why I just want to call them both Jordan. But even though, like, right now his dad's maybe never coming home, who knows, with the whole prison thing, it's very different circumstances. He can't relate. And I hope you never have to, sweetheart.
Hey, babe.
Do not take anything from her, sweetheart.
About how sad.
He did admit that it didn't make him feel good, that it, he felt pretty shit about it because his victory wasn't really his and all of that. So hopefully that's a sign that he's not going to keep using.
Yeah.
Do not take it. Do not take it. Do not take it.
Oh.
The last thing your parents need right now is this. And the last thing you need right now is this.
No, it's not about that. It's just,
Give it back, thank God.
honestly, I think I'm done.
John, I can't get caught with this stuff, Jonathan. The people my dad works for, if they find out about this, we're gonna lose everything.
No, you won't.
Oh, you stupid sweet boy.
I'll dump it, okay? I'm a good kid. There's no way they're gonna check me. And if they do, then
The dog's gonna smell it on you, you idiot! I mean, fair enough, helping out his girlfriend. Now, if his girlfriend is like, wow, that was scary, I'm never doing that again, decent. If she's like, oh well, still dealing, dump her.
But you have the truth. Don't underestimate that. There's still
It's
plenty of
true,
time
but
to
it also
continue. Just have to
doesn't
catch 'em
often
off guard.
matter. Yes.
One second.
Your son was found with drugs on him. At least they're gonna know.
And did I not bring you face to face with our mother? For that good deed alone, I deserve at least some credit.
You got what you deserved.
You've just told them that you took him somewhere to be face to face with their mother.
Told you I'm in command now. And I want that thing that killed my team.
You killed your
Tell me where
team.
he is.
Like, obviously, yes, other Clark, other Superman killed his team. I'm not completely putting the blame on his shoulders, but everyone and their mother told you that those people were not ready for this fight. And you were like, go fight someone that we don't even know what it is. You killed them too. And just because you're feeling that guilt and don't want to get the consequences from up on high, you don't get to act like this.
What would you offer for my cooperation?
So
Simple.
I'm guessing
I'll make
stopping
the
the
pain stop.
torture. Jesus Christ. America, land of the free and the torturing prisoners. I'm sure the UK is also sucks. Like, I always, whenever I criticize America, I have to put a disclaimer. The UK is an off-brand budget version. So it's actually without right-wing government. It's trying its hardest to be all the worst parts of America. So I'm not trying to criticize it and be like, I'm so great. We suck too.
Jordan's freaking out.
Please just promise me.
Not to smoke space drugs? Yeah, I'm not that stupid. Are you selling drugs?
No. Mom, I promise.
I just
And
use
it's not
them.
technically drugs, right? The sheriff's...
And regardless of how you classify experimental space narcotics,
Mhm.
what the hell were you doing with so much of it?
Say you were helping a friend. But they'll want to know who.
I can't tell you that. People are gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, drug dealers.
Mom,
It's obviously his
I understand
girlfriend.
that you're upset, but Jordan caught me using XK and he called me out, and I haven't used it since.
So you were
Mhm.
using this stuff?
Yes, he was. He has been spiraling.
For the last couple weeks, yeah, because
I have had enough disappointment for the day. So get upstairs.
It's always
right
the
now.
worst when your parents are disappointed. She's feeling a little bit like her world is disintegrating around her. Definitely a part of it will be, how did I not notice that my kid was using drugs? Still a dumb decision from a dumb kid, and then protecting Candace, I get it, I do, but I also feel like there were other options that just grabbing on. And she is dealing the drugs, but like, she knew the consequences. Again, I don't think she should have to suffer greatly. She's also a dumb kid, but this man is a fucking psychopath.
Brother, please. Enough, enough! He's at 76.2 north longitude, 100.4 west latitude.
Is that true? You are a psychopath. Like, he's exactly the kind of person who should not be in charge of a military organization. Like, if I was one of his underlings, I would be like, dear superior officers and HR, I was asked to participate in torture today. Did not realize that was part of being in the military. Please, can I either resign or can you kick this man out and send him to a war crimes tribunal? XOXO joy. Like, torture is never okay, especially because, like, it's never okay. And it's literally the reason he wants this isn't for justice. He doesn't want justice for the people's families. He wants to try and cover up his own mistakes.
For your cooperation.
Way to make sure Superman never works with you again. I wondered whether he told him the truth or not.
How did I miss this?
That's
I
the
had
big
no
feeling.
idea this was going on. Why would he do something like that?
Think about it. Think about what XK gives you. And think about how half of his family has those things already. I saw it coming, not XK, but this spiral.
To be there for your kid when they don't have anyone else.
So in this circumstance, you can still be freaking cross with him, but you
I
also
think
should
the
listen to
mayor
him.
I got caught. It wasn't a big deal. I thought I'd be in a little trouble. A little trouble? Yes.
He's dumb.
Someone on the team?
You know who it is. Think about who he'd go to
I don't know why you get
battle
in all this trouble
for.
someone else's though.
My fate here is of a more permanent nature.
Yes, because you killed people. and tried to take over the planet.
Damn it, he lied to me.
Don't threaten me.
Anderson, I think, is genuinely a little bit hurt that during the torture session, Superman didn't tell him the truth.
The one being brought.
Superman must have warned him that we were coming.
Oh God!
This whole time, Superman's been lying to me, and there's...
How, like, is this man okay? Like, I honestly think if you're in any kind of, personally, I think if you're in the military, full stop, but especially if you're in a high up, influential position in the military, you should have to see a psychologist like every week, like quite regularly, because the paranoia this man goes through of immediately being like that. I've had Superman locked up, restrained, like he can't use his powers, he can't do anything, but he definitely warned him. Like, obviously it looks bad. I would not blame him for going back to Superman and being like, so tell me why we found his helmet in your place, like in the place you sent me to, like, and like, well, he wasn't there but his helmet was. I'm not expecting him to go back and be like, hey buddy, but to be like, he warned him. How the fuck did he warn him? Boys. Is this part of a plan to escape?
Sir, General Hardcastle's on line 1. Says she's been trying to reach you.
Hold her off until I have something to report.
Yeah, but he's been ignoring her. Did he not have permission? Or did he not have the kind of permission?
Get the men out of that cell.
Sorry, say it again.
Do not approach that prisoner. Fall back. Fall back.
Don't shoot me. Tom.
Do not shoot him.
My part. Miss this feeling.
We can't let him out. Jesus Christ. You made him your enemy.
Good luck giving brass to give a damn. I need a chopper ready to go ASAP.
Is this man having a spiral?
My command if I don't prove that I'm right. The best way to do that is finish this.
No, you need to report him to someone above him. Like, he is not acting well. Like, again, report everything that happened to them. I guess the military will need to consider is Superman a hostile now, but this man is unstable. Jesus Christ. Yep, this man is delusional. Glad the military promotes such capable people.
We're inseparable.
Oof.
The closest of brothers.
What drove us
Ooh.
apart? Greed.
I wouldn't want to talk about this in a public place.
So I know that I should never
Who is
visit
this?
you after camp.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was just assuming it was a friend from school. It's the girl she cheated on Jordan with. Of all the people.
I mean, it just doesn't seem fair to my mom. But it's not about her. It's about you. Look, after my parents split, I froze my
Relationship
dad out
with
for,
you
like,
and your
almost an
dad.
entire year. See your dad.
But also, it's okay to be angry at him and to not want to see him. Again, she can in the fullness of time change her mind about that. That is fine. But I'm scared this is going to go down the route of, he's your dad, you only get one.
You're right.
But I think she
You're
needs to talk
awesome.
to him.
I really wanted to start this season after everything that happened last year.
I think it's
I know, I feel
even
like
deeper
everybody
than
in this
that.
family is great at something.
There we go.
I want it to be great, I guess. You know, I would never sell drugs. I believe you, sweetie. I do.
He's been spiraling a long time.
I'm still incredibly disappointed in you. I'll make it up to you. Okay, I
Maybe.
promise. I can't ruin someone else's life.
They ruin their own life, sweetheart.
Please just... I'm sorry.
He's being very loyal,
So am I.
I can't
but
stop
I don't
thinking
know
I had a
that
wife on your world. She must
she
be a
deserves it
goddess.
necessarily.
Any
She's
idea
being
where I might
dumb
find
as
one, sir?
anything.
Can we please focus?
Well, at
Like-
least let him tell me her name. How long's that going to take?
Cal.
It's hard because obviously there's the wider thing of like it's like a gang or what or whoever. Like I feel like from what she said, there's like big mean drug dealers that she's sort of swooping in on or something. That obviously would get in trouble. That would be very bad for her. But she made that risk herself, and it isn't worth throwing his own life away. Again, I guess getting expelled doesn't have to be like the end of everything, but it is also the only school nearby. It's not like he can just go to the next one down the road and he'll always have that on his record, which, you know, is again isn't the end of everything. It can seem like it when you're young, but he should just tell the truth. He shouldn't have covered it up. Telling the truth to everyone would have been better.
Something is coming.
Yes, a crazed man missile.
You don't have to do this. I'm bringing you in. All of you. By any means necessary.
He is a lunatic. Delusional. Was that going to breach the containment? That makes him stronger, fuck! Okay, it's not reaching him, because if it does, it's going to make him stronger. Oh god. How fucking strong did X kryptonite make you? Where did that display of brotherly love come from? Like, my brain is immediately like, what is his ultimate? And he could be dead. In which case, I feel bad for saying this. Does he have an ultimate endgame of trying to prove himself to Clark? Or has he, throughout time, slowly but surely come to realize that things could have been different, and maybe they could have been close, and maybe they could have been a family?
Help my sons.
Well, now we're all working together. Don't kill the bad man, though. Oh, that makes him stronger. He likes that. Please don't kill him, though. Yeah, he hates the yellow stuff.
Or you will kill him.
Well, he's dying either way. Yeah. Oof, yeah, picking his brother over the wider story and mission. This man is a lunatic and a psychopath. Like, he is not well. Did he kill him? This was also a very off-books mission. Surely the military can't give him a pat on the back for this. Whatever happened. Well, we could have got useful information from him, and it seems like he had a hard life, but he also killed people, so I'm not going to cry. Similarly, if he died, I'm not going to cry. But the fact that he took the kryptonite for Clark was a humongous step forwards.
I see you brought me back to my proper place.
You killed
You knew I
people.
could never let you go free.
My father used to say pain was just a way of reminding me I was alive.
Your father was a monster. We made you one for a while.
And Anderson.
Escaped. But I'll find him.
So Anderson is just
The other you.
on the run now.
Could have been me tonight. If you hadn't done what you did.
Oh, what are brothers for?
What's a huge step? Maybe a sign that you actually do care.
Tell your son I'm sorry.
Someday, you can tell him yourself.
That guard is like, oh my god, Superman has a son! Oh my god! I mean, I don't ever support him being let out of prison because he killed so many people, but...
Warrant has been issued for Anderson's arrest. He went
Good.
AWOL. Stole government property.
Good.
Weapons from Project 773.
This is why you don't let unstable men pop to the top of it.
XK, but I'm the one who recommended him for the job.
You have terrible instincts. Yet another thing I'm going to hold against this man is he's terrible, terrible judge of character. Terrible at looking out for people. Oh, and Clark's had a terrible, shitty day, and now he just gets to have some fun news about his family. Home sweet home.
Long day.
If you don't really know what's going on in your own home, how are we supposed to trust that you'd know what's going on with all of us?
Because I love this town, George. And everyone in it. Really being questioned here, George, is what kind of person you are. Someone so willing to attack a member of this family.
Yep.
During one of the most painful moments of their life.
Yeah, you bastard. He's like, never knew the man. Good for you, Lana. I'm so proud of her, because especially going through that kind of thing, it would be so easy to wilt and hide.
Can we talk?
She needs to say whatever she needs to say to him.
Taught you nothing? Have you not heard a single word that either of us has ever said to you?
Yes.
Then
And then
damn it,
he's
act
seen-
like it.
It's had a rough day.
Tomorrow, you will go. You and I are gonna have a long talk about all the important things I thought you already knew, so that you don't ever misrepresent yourself or this family again.
Yourself most
Do
importantly.
you understand?
He's not gonna have a football team anymore. Like, his whole future's just been thrown away. I'm worried about this boy. He did it to himself. He was a dumb, dumb child. But he is just a child. And knowing the line between disciplining and being there is very messy. Oh, fuck off.
Yes? And I have something that he wants. But I think
Oh
it
no,
belongs
the
to you.
pendant. Oh,
Can you-
Jesus.
Can you tell me what this is?
You absolute moron of the Fifth Order, which I have decided is the highest order of moron. Okay, so Jonathan. My heart does break a bit for him, you know, watching, and you know, for Clark walking away, hearing his son sobbing, like he's not gonna be like, ha, lovely day. I definitely think it was pretty shit timing in terms of what we were going through in general, that this would come out now. But I also don't think they've been too harsh on him. I think they've kind of I think they've done the best. Obviously, like I've said throughout this entire show, this is a brilliant example of the joys and wonder of family, but also just how hard it is, how hard parenting can be, figuring out how to deal with your kids and like how to kind of be there for them as well. I think it is a really, really good job of showing the balancing act of that. And you know, I think potentially when Lois initially was kind of just shouting at them, I mean, she wasn't quite shouting, but you know, just, I'm very disappointed, wasn't necessarily the best way to deal with it, but it was a very honest human response to finding out that your kid that you thought would never ever do drugs was not only doing drugs, but potentially selling drugs. And then coming back and having the kind of quiet conversation with him, listening to him, hearing him out, hearing why he did it, is a huge part of it too. I think for both of them, there is that huge step of, do I know my kid? I never would have thought Jonathan would have done that. I didn't notice that he was in a headspace. And especially when you hear his reason, I know to Clark, he kind of just said, I want to be better. But his reason ultimately was that he doesn't feel good enough, that not only on the football team is he constantly being eclipsed by other people, and then finding out that one of those people is using these performance enhancing drugs, but on top of that, his brother, who he used to be able, like, who he used to have physical superiority over, and it was kind of his thing in the family, was that he was the sporty one, is now so much better at him in every single category when it comes to that, and he doesn't have that within himself. He will feel smaller, he will feel less able, and I think we haven't really seen anyone in his family properly helping him through that yet, or kind of acknowledging that he might be feeling that yet. I think we had a slight comment in season 1 when something came up where Lois was like, you know, we're the not powered ones in this family. I know what it's like, but she doesn't know what it's like in the same way. It's a very different situation for him. And on top of that, when you think about just how much he gave up when they moved to Smallville, you know, Jordan has gained a whole world in coming to Smallville, and it really isn't the same for Jonathan. He is the kid I have been most worried about. I also, like, I don't have favourites, but I feel like Jordan is going to have bumps and is having bumps, obviously. He's 14, 15, you know, they're not going to have a smooth ride at all. But his life is kind of going in an upwards trajectory, where we've very much been watching Jonathan's do the opposite. I'm just so relieved that it's out in the open in episode 7. You know, like, we're not even halfway through the season, I don't think. Yeah, no, maybe we are about halfway through the season, but we're not, like, super near the end of the season, and he hasn't even been using drugs for that many episodes, that it came up quite quickly, that they know about it. And in a way, the biggest, most devastating thing for him, and that he's going to have to realize, is that this really does mean the end of his life as he's known it. There is no more football. There is no more football scholarship in the future. There is no, like, his future as he once had it in Metropolis, he has completely thrown away. Which he made dumb decisions, so I'm not trying to let him off the hook here. You know, as he was doing it, I was almost weeping with frustration and wanting to scream at him. But it is very hard to kind of watch this kid who's so royally fucked up, and you know that now he's just trying to help his girlfriend. And I don't know that he should be. I think, realistically, the best way to help his girlfriend is to tell the truth. Because, yeah, it's going to get her into trouble, but it's also going to, you know, if it gets found out this way, it would be so much better than the bad people that she alluded to finding out a different way. Also, I don't know, like, if her family's really struggling that much financially, maybe they could get some help. But it's not going to help anybody if he goes down for this and then she keeps doing it and then she ends up in an even bigger pickle down the road. It's not really helping her. And why should he throw his life away? Why should he face this huge punishment for her mistakes? She knew the risks when she started doing what she was doing, so why would she do it? Why should he do it? And it's because he's young and in love and very sweet and trying to be loyal, and I feel like, but honestly, he should have just told. And to be honest, I am surprised they haven't asked to look at his phone. I know that obviously in general the whole technology line and like obviously respecting your kids' privacy is a huge thing, and I don't endorse parents regularly checking their kids' phones or whatever, but I think if I had just found out my son was potentially dealing drugs, I would want to look at the phone, and I would potentially like sit down and look at it together so that like I'm not looking at anything you don't know I'm looking at, you know. We're just, and in those text messages there would be Candace is like, I'm so sorry. I didn't think you'd get in trouble, thanks for taking it, or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, okay, so she did it, because you'd want to look in the phone for evidence of like drug deals or whatever, you know, like I would be looking, that would be the reason I would look, and to see if I could see who it is. And I think in that circumstance I'm okay with a parent checking a kid's phone. If it's just, oh, you know, it's been a month, I want to look at your phone to check you're not up to no good, kid, I think that's kind of, you're not really respecting your kids' boundaries and like their own sort of privacy. But in this instance, check his phone, figure out who it is. Oh, it's Candace. And to be honest, who in Smallville is he closest to that he would take a bullet for like this? He's not really got any close friends that we've seen. He's kind of pally with members of the team, but he's not really found his place here. The only person he's found his place with is his girlfriend. And so, as much as you might not suspect, you know, sweet little Candace to sell drugs, she's doing it. So in a way I can kind of respect his little sweet sincerity with his like, I can't tell you. But at the same time, you're not making it easier for anybody in this situation. And I don't feel like this is the end of Jonathan's spiral. I feel like this is still the beginning, and it's very stressful to watch. You know, I'd like to think that Lois and Clark are going to be more on the watch for it. You know, like Jordan was kind of their steady kid. He was their kid who, you know, you had Jordan with his mental health issues and everything like that. Jonathan was very much just, you know, had loads of friends, academically did all right, brilliant at sport, ploughing along, there goes Jonathan. And I feel like they became very used to watching Jordan for signs of needing help, and that magnified when he then got powers, and so he was the one that they had to be like, oh my god, is Jordan dealing with this? Okay, has Jordan blown something up to be focusing on that? And they kind of almost, obviously they still love their son and looked at, I'm not saying that they don't care about Jonathan, but I feel like they were very much in the pattern of he was the kid that was just fine, he'll be fine, we don't need to worry about it, that they didn't stop to think, what would he be going through right now? And again, I also understand the reason partly behind that is that their lives are so hectic and full on. It's not like they have really peaceful day-to-day lives, and the nature of their jobs, of Superman, of the kind of investigations Lois does, of the fact that Clark is Superman and constantly in danger, there is a lot going on. It is not your average family. But I'd like to think that even though I'm convinced Jonathan will continue to spiral, I hope his parents are kind of keeping a little bit more of an eye on him. I also like that they were across. I like that, for one, that Jordan was immediately like, I found out when he took it. Like, Jordan kind of said what he knew when it was found out. And I also like that Jordan was also in trouble, because you need to tell your parents. It's not like, you know, something relatively harmless. It is very, very big. So I think, as always, they handled the kind of parenting issues very, very well in this episode. And the balance between it. And in some ways, I think shows like this would actually be really good for teens to watch as well, because I feel like potentially if you're a teenager who's like, oh, my parents just don't understand me, then maybe you could watch this and see the perspective of the parents in the situation and how they are desperate and struggling and worrying the whole time. I was never, I literally gave my parents no trouble whatsoever. Like, I didn't have, I stayed home, I watched TV shows, I read books, and I played The Sims, and that was all I did throughout my teens. So I don't know what it's like to have a rebellious phase or whatever. Yeah, till I was almost 17, life was blissfully wonderful for me. And then I related to Sarah quite deeply. But yeah, very, very good handling of that. And the other kind of family drama is the Cushings. And just the way Sarah is trying to be there for her mum, and the way her mum's saying, well, no, I didn't want you to see it either, but Sarah's that bit older, so of course she's going to help. And Sarah, being that kind of age, she's aware when her mum's crying, she's aware when her mum's struggling, she's aware when her mum needs help or is doing something, and she will want to help. And it is lovely of her to want to help, but at the same time, she also is still so young, and she'll be kept out of it as much as possible. I like the idea of encouraging her to talk to somebody about it. I don't love the idea that the only person in the entire world she's close enough to is the girl she kissed at summer camp, because I have concerns about where this plotline is going. If they're just going to be friends, 10 out of 10, great. You know, they both maybe learned something about their sexuality that summer, and they've got a best friend out of it. 10 out of 10. And if down the line she breaks up with Jordan and they want to get together, again, 10 out of 10. But I know Sarah, obviously, like, her mental health wasn't great. She had a suicide attempt because she was struggling, which does lead you to think she doesn't have many super close friends. But then again, you can have mental health problems and have super close friends. It's a single person in Smallville whose parents divorced. It's not that uncommon, guys. But, and so I understand logically. I love that she was able to talk to somebody about it, and maybe even somebody that kind of understood. And, you know, the whole mess of like what that parent that did the thing that hurt you, that broke your family, and how you want to deal with them, and do you forgive them, do you trust them? Again, I always think each situation is different, each dynamic is different. I will not fault Sarah if she chooses to let her dad back in her life, but I do hope the show also presents the concept of maybe she won't. Again, I think she probably will. I think given the circumstances of everything that happened, I don't think it is a kind of, assuming he now from here on out is a good dad, I think fair enough, he should be in his kids' lives. But yeah, it was a lot. That scene, the whole plot line is kind of hits very close to home. And like I said 1,000 times before, I think so many shows have the cliche of you only get one set of parents and so you should forgive them. And it's like, well, no, actually, if a parent crosses one of your lines, if a parent does something to you, you don't have to forgive them. Again, I don't necessarily think what Kyle did constitutes that, but right now, I don't necessarily think Sarah's going to want to spend, you know, half the week with him or anything. Though maybe she will, but it was in the pot. I don't know. It's a mess, and you know what? Whatever makes Sarah happy, that's what I support. But also, I think holding those feelings in doesn't help. You need to tell your parent what you think. The parent that wronged you. Tell him that he hurt you. Tell him how he hurt you and why he hurt you. Tell him how hard it is for you that he did this thing. I once ended up screaming at my dad on the street. Did not mean to. We went on a walk. We talked about the weather, a bike ride he'd been on. Then we were almost back at his house and it just came tumbling out of me. And I was like scream crying. And there were other people on this street. And he ushered me to his car. My life was like a soap opera that day. So, you know, I understand Sarah a lot and I relate to her. And so I'm very concerned. The fact that it was the girl she kissed at summer camp, and it could have been anybody else. I'm worried that they're going to have her. The one thing that I'm worried about is that she's going to cheat on Jordan, and then she's going to be like, oh, Dad, I get it. Which, if that happens, I will literally, I mean, I won't stop watching the show, but please know that there will be a part of me that's like, fuck this show. I don't want to watch it anymore. Again, even if she does cheat on Jordan, she's like 15. I'm not going to hold it against her for the rest of her life, but it will hopefully be something she will learn from and never do again. At most, I hope it's like she needs to break up with him to be with somebody else because she realizes that as much as she likes him, that maybe what they had has changed. And again, you're kids, you're growing up. Who you are as a person is changing all the time. And, you know, she met him when she was coming out of a dark place into a good place and he was doing a similar thing. And maybe they kind of really bonded through that, but now they're a little bit more different and they can still be friends, but they don't have the spark. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be together forever and I am reading into this. I'm just freaking scared. So yes. All the family stuff. Brilliant episode. What is Lan's dad's name? But he is shit. Like, he's a shit dad, a shit granddad, and a shit general. He's like, that man should replace me. Oh, he's mentally unstable. Immediately ices out Superman. I mean, I guess the psychopath had, like, buttered up the general to get what he wanted from him. But seriously, I'm glad we have seen that Anderson is genuinely deranged. Like, he is not well. Power hungry, delusional, paranoid. Like, because I was serious at various points in this episode, I was just looking at it like, how? But I'm glad that kind of at the end he is on the run, he's teaming up with the bad guy. He is just full bad guy, paranoia, I'm the victim of this situation, madness. It was very apparent from the way he immediately made Superman get off on the wrong foot with him that it was going to end up like this. I wonder who the replacement will be. He seems so paranoid throughout this entire episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Tal, and if they were to turn around and say he's free now, he can do what he wanted right now, I would be like, what about the people that he killed? Could we maybe consider them and the fact that he wanted to take over the world? Now, as an audience, knowing his past, his childhood, his upbringing, what brought him to this point, I don't despise him like I would someone who just decided to take over the world because he thought it would be fun. But I also think he had the point of turning back last season, of seeing that there was another way, and he did not take it. But potentially I think he can earn a kind of redemption, and I personally don't know if that kind of redemption involves being freed from prison, but I think it would definitely potentially involve slightly nicer quarters. But it could grant him a better relationship with his brother, because I think he is realizing and growing more as more of a heart. Seemingly, he jumped in front of those kryptonite, I was gonna say kryptonite bullets, for no reason other than to protect his brother, which is great. There is still that part of my brain that is like, is it part of a greater scheme to get Clark to trust him? I'm never gonna fully trust this man. He was so diabolically evil last season. But it is very interesting to see this, to consider, can he be redeemed? How could he be redeemed? How far could he be redeemed? Then what other Clark said about how they were close on his world and his wife tried to kill Clark. It's very interesting. Who was his wife? What is going on? And I'm still convinced that in those photos on that other world, Jonathan was scratched out, and so I'm mildly concerned that, like, he's gonna end up joining the cult. I don't know. Just he's spiraling right now. He's in a kind of vulnerable state that the cult takes advantage of. But yeah, I did not expect that other Clark would die this episode. It kind of, I guess, makes sense in the sense that now we cannot get more information from him. We can't prove ourselves trustworthy to him. He did help by fighting off the bad guy and helping our sons, like she asked. I guess it's kind of his mom too. Maybe he would have ultimately come to trust Clark and told him the truth and given him more information. We've kind of got a little bit of information from him, but not enough to, like, fully solve everything in episode 8. But yeah, did not expect him to actually die in this episode. That was huge. Very good episode again. This show is fantastic. Thank you so much for watching.